Welcome to this week's edition of Eye on the Eagles. The men's and women's cross-country teams traveled to Lakeland, Florida to compete in the Moccasin Invitational on Friday. The women won the meet, finishing first overall in a field that included last year's Sunshine State Conference champions, St. Leo. The Eagles placed 4 runners in the top 10, with Sarah Edens leading the charge for the blue and gold. She came in third overall with a time of 19:35.80. The men's team came away in 4th place, thanks to Andrew Carpenter's 2nd place overall finish. He crossed the line just 16 seconds behind the meet winner in a time of 27:03.10. The men's soccer team had a tough week, falling to Nova Southeastern 2-1 and 2-0 to Eckerd. Magnus Magnuson had the Eagles' lone goal of the week, scoring on a penalty kick in the 13th minute against NSU.
Talk a little bit about how your team is performing 5 games into the season. What sort of things are we doing well, and what sort of things do we need to get better at?
Well, we're not doing too great record-wise at the moment, I'll be honest. Like I said, going into the NCAA, we weren't really sure what the rules were, what we could and couldn't do in pre-season. And we were always curious how starting August 17th versus starting August 1st, as we did in the NEI, would affect us. And it's certainly obvious right now we're not at the races. We're not where we'd like to be. In years past, usually by the start of October, we're starting to hit our stride. And so far, 5 games into the season, we're not quite there yet. We probably are about 3 or 4 weeks behind where we'd like to be. But it's a great group of guys. We're working extremely hard for each other. And it's not easy when you're 1-4. You kind of, it takes the shine off it a little bit. But it's a great group to work with. And we're working hard. And this week in training, we're going to work even harder to try and get better. And, I think we won't really know until November if we've done anything right or wrong this season. So like I said, it's a good learning experience for us as coaches, and defensively we've been quite good as a unit, and that's quite easy to teach and it's quite easy to organise, but we haven't been good enough with the ball, and we haven't done enough to hurt the opposition. We haven't got enough shots, we haven't been creative or brave enough going forward, and we usually as a team have a goal of getting about 15 shots a game, and I think we're averaging about 3. So, there's room for improvement for sure, and we'll work hard this week to try and get better. But I think with the ball is where we need to get a little bit better, and that's our focus for training this week.
The women's soccer team continued its tough schedule, facing Nova Southeastern and Eckerd as well. The ladies fell to the Sharks 2-0 on Wednesday, but came back on Saturday to defeat the Tritons 4-0. Against Eckerd, Andrea Freuschag netted a hat trick and an assist. Her first score of the game came in the 4th minute as she dribbled past the defense and sent a shot past the Triton goalkeeper. In the second half, Freuschag recorded 2 other goals as she connected on passes from fellow senior Catherine Ebbs. Annie Jelna also scored on the afternoon for the Eagles as Freuschag fed her passes, and she was able to beat the Eckerd goalie from the right side. The men's golf team opened its fall schedule at the J. Jennison Memorial last week and finished in 15th place. Tyler Green was the top finisher for the Eagles, scoring a .230 to tie for 57th place. Volleyball played twice, traveling to Rollins on Tuesday and hosting 4th-ranked Tampa on Saturday. Against Rollins, Tamiris Ferreira tied the Eagles' single-game record for assists with 67 to lead the Eagles to a 3-2 win over the Tars. The team registered a season-high 74 kills, which was led by Evelina Abdurakhmanova's 25 and Anna Payic's 18. Against number 4 Tampa, the Eagles fell 3-0, but challenged the Spartans by keeping it close and putting up 23 and 22 points in the first and third sets. The men's and women's tennis teams competed at the USTA-ITA South Region Championships last weekend. On the men's side, Carlos Becca and Fabian Zierlin advanced to the doubles quarterfinals before falling 8-6 to a tough West Florida side. Zierlin also competed in singles and advanced to the finals of the consolation bracket. 4 Eagles competed on the women's side, led by Anna Goitz, who advanced to the quarterfinals of the consolation bracket. Following the cross-country team's successful weekend, Sarah Edens and Andrew Carpenter were named Student Athletes of the Week. Coming up this week for ERAU Athletics, the men's and women's golf teams are both in action on Monday and Tuesday. The men's team is competing at the St. Leo Invitational, while the women travel north to participate in the Jacksonville Classic. On Friday, the men's and women's cross-country teams head to Tallahassee to race at the Florida State Invitational. The volleyball team also competes on Friday, traveling south to take on Lynn at 7 p.m. On Saturday, the ladies face Nova Southeastern in Fort Lauderdale at 4 p.m. The women's soccer team will host Tampa at 6 p.m. on Saturday, while the men's team will play the Spartans at their home field at 7 p.m. on the same day.
Talk to us a little bit about this week's opponent, Tampa. What sort of things do you know about Tampa, and what do you expect in this matchup?
Well, based on what we've seen so far from all the Sunshine State teams that we've played, Tampa's going to be a good team. Historically, they've probably been, over the last 20 years, in the top 2 or 3 in the league on average. So again, they'll be a very good team, and we're looking forward to a great match. I think the focus for us this week is, we'll find out a little bit about Tampa, but more so the focus for us this week will be how we approach the game and what we can get better at based on the last 2 games versus Nova and Eckerd. Like I said, we need to get better with the ball, and that with the focus of our training this week is lots of attacking movements, being braver in possession, being more incisive in the final third, and that with the focus of our training this week, with the hopes that come Saturday night in Tampa we'll get an improved performance and a win.
Tune in next week for more game highlights and a look ahead at what's to come.